everyone, welcome back to Zigami Beauty. I'm Krisha. Today's video all about blush. I'm missing some serious blush action on my face. As you can tell, we're gonna go through my favorite blush technique to make cream blush last. I love a good cream blush. I think it is the most natural looking way to use blush. As we obviously get older, I'm 40 years old now, we want to use stuff that makes our skin look dewy. So whether you're 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, it doesn't matter. We love the dew. Before we get into the technique, I wanted to, of course, invite you to subscribe to my channel, ring the bell to get notified of any future uploads, as well leave me a comment down below. I love to hear from you guys. Okay, so let's get straight into this blush technique where we're going to be using cream blush, but it's going to last all day. Okay guys, why do I love cream blush? Well, it is so youthful. It creates a very skin-like result and effect on the skin. You get that kind of like glow from within effect. Now, the biggest challenge for cream blush, there's a couple challenges. One is application, because sometimes we're afraid that if we're putting on a cream blush, what do we do first? Do we put it on top of a powdered foundation? Do we put it on before we powder? It's all those questions, right? And at the end of the day, this technique will let you apply it over top of a powdered foundation. It is that easy and that effective. Second issue people run into is, how do I make this blush last? Because cream blush, for the most part, and as the formulas improve, of course they're getting better. They're getting to the point where they do stay on the skin quite nicely and wear quite nicely. But it's still a cream blush, so you're still going to potentially have that tackiness at the end, or a potential of it to move around a little bit if you don't set it in place. So we're going to go over that as well, how to make a cream blush last. Let's just go over first the tools we'll be using. We'll be using a stippling brush. Of course, you can use your fingers for the cream, and you can also use a sponge. I prefer a stippling brush such as this from Econo Tools. This brush is lovely because it has these synthetic bristles at the top that are quite fluffy. It's pretty small, so you have a good amount of control when you're using it. You're not going to get the blush everywhere. You can still kind of really control where you're applying the blush. And then you're also going to need something a little bit more compact in terms of a brush. Now, this might be confusing people. Well, why do I need a second brush? Well, because the technique that I'm using is actually we're going to be setting the cream blush with another blush, a powder blush. Does that take away from the look of a cream blush? No, it doesn't, because the technique we're going to use, as well as the type of powder blush that goes on top, is very specific. So it's still going to retain that really lovely natural effect of a cream blush, but it's going to literally set the blush in place. I have this brush here. It's synthetic, which is nice, so we can just apply it on top of creams, and it's compact, kind of gives push effect onto the skin. First, we're going to start off with my current favorite. It's from Fenty Beauty. I have it in the shade, it's that purpley shade, Drama something, Drama Class. I just find it's quite natural on the skin. Formula is quite emollient. Again, it doesn't matter what formula you use for the cream portion. So another formula I like is this one in the Clarins stick. It's a duo highlighter and cream stick. Oh my gosh, my girls destroyed this. Oh dear. Well, it is what it is. So this one is just as fine too. It's a little bit more waxy of a formula. Another one from NYX, which is really, really good too. Again, for the most part, you can use whatever cream blush you like. That's the nice thing about, like I said, this technique. I just sort of get a decent amount on. I have a powdered face right now. I also use a little bit of contour, so no worries. There's no need to panic. We're gonna just stipple this on very, very gently. Again, the nice thing about a stippling brush is that you're going in up and down motions. You're not necessarily pulling or dragging on the skin, so the chances of moving things around underneath is really, really slim to none. We're just gonna, again, pounce the blush. This formula is nice because it's quite sheer, so you can just kind of keep applying. We're just gonna go and do a nice, round, beautiful, youthful cheek. That's sort of the effect I like when using a cream blush. So there's not a ton of product on, but that's okay. We just want a thin layer, and that's the key as well. You want to put on a thin layer using pouncing motions with your stippling brush, and that just creates a diffused kind of thin layer of color. And it literally looks like you're blushing from within. Of course, this is beautiful on its own. Highlight, do the rest of your bronzer, and you're good to go. But the tricky part is that this may not last all day now, because essentially it's a cream blush. It's a decent formula in terms of it setting down, but it's still not set in my opinion. So I have this on, which is beautiful. Next, what I'm gonna do is take a powder formula and put that on top of the cream blush. Now, the powder formula on top cannot be matte. It has to be a specific, very, very almost like creamy, powdery formula. The most beautiful example I have is the Natasha Denona Duo Glow blushes. They have sort of that very, very emollient formula to them. It's just so creamy and glowy. I love it. It's pigmented enough that it gives you color, but it has sort of that creamy sheerness to it. Another example that works really well is the Charlotte Tilbury Cheek to Chic blushes. They work really well. Any formula that's slightly sheer and has a shimmer or sheen to it. The MAC Extra Dimension blushes work beautifully. Another one is the Milani Baked blushes. A lot of baked blushes work beautifully. So again, something with a sheerness, something with a shimmeriness or glowiness to them. We're just gonna take our blush brush, tap it in. If there's any excess, take it off. And we're just gonna, again, pounce. And that's the importance with using a brush that has that bounciness and almost like a slight firmness to it. So we're gonna go over and just kind of that area, sticking mostly to sort of the topper parts of the cheekbone, not going too crazy with the powder blush here. We just want that cream blush to have that slight coming through effect. So we're gonna stick with that top 3/4. So I don't know if you can tell, but it gives a beautiful glow. Now, if I were to use just the powder blush alone, I wouldn't be getting that slight blush coming through this area. And again, it's slight because I put a sheer layer of that cream blush. And then you set it with the powder blush and you're good to go. So I'm gonna repeat on this side. Now, what a difference. Like, I don't know if you guys can tell, but it's definitely a difference what blush makes. Okay, other side. So this side we're going to use a different cream blush. We're gonna use something super tacky. It's not available anymore. So again, it doesn't matter what cream blush you're using. I just wanted to show you guys that it even works with a formula such as this. This is a very, very old formula from MAC. It used to be called their Blushcream Pearl and Blossoming, my favorite cream blush of all time. I think I have like another 4 backups. Anyways, this formula is very thick. It's very emollient. It goes onto the skin in such a way that it might very quickly make a mess of things because it's quite a thick formula. But even this formula works. So what I'm trying to tell you is it doesn't really matter because we're going in with a stipple brush, we're going in and making a thin layer. So again, I'm just gonna take some. I may not pounce it in as much as the Fenty, but enough to get some product on. And I'm not scared at all because we're gonna just stipple it. And that's it. Super easy. And again, very thin layer. So you can tell that it has given me just that really lit from within glow, which is what I love about a cream blush. This would not last. There is no way that this would last all day through work. It just wouldn't. So what we're gonna do is we're going to, again, set it with a powder blush. This time we're gonna use the Charlotte Tilbury Cheek to Chic. I have it in the color Ecstasy. And very nice, almost sheer-like formula. So same firmer blush brush. We're just gonna kind of go around, tap off any excess, and then just go right in. Sticking to that outer 3/4 of the cheek. If you need more, I like to go up to the temples just to sort of make it look more cohesive. And that is it. Definitely more of a peachy, cheek. This is more definitely pink, but the technique works. And now I know that this is going to last me all day because essentially I set that cream blush down with a powder. Now, if you were to set the cream blush with a translucent powder, I don't think that would look as good because even if it's translucent, it's still going to just diminish the look of the blush. So you're almost having to put on more of the cream blush to get the intensity. Because again, if you're not putting on a powder with a little bit of a blushy tint on, you are gonna kind of dim down that effect. And then, yeah, you run into the chance of putting on more cream blush and then it getting a little bit too cakey at that stage. So I'm gonna show you guys that I can still put on bronzer on top, because that's what I like to do. I like to put on my final sort of bronzer on at the end after blush is done. And because we have set the cream blush with a little bit of that powder blush, we can go and put more powder on top, which is nice. Okay, so just a quick highlight next. I'm really loving the Becca Moonstone. And I kind of use a bigger brush and I put it all over. Oh dear, I like the glow. What are we gonna do? Mainly to the top of the cheeks, but then I just kind of like to put it everywhere. And I'm glowing beyond belief. Okay, so this is it, you guys. This is the finished makeup look, and minus the fact that I have two different colors on each side of my face, I do feel that this looks natural. It looks cohesive. I'm not getting any kind of like weird stripes or anything like that. The cream blush effect underneath the powder just gave it, like I said, that diffused effect, quite blended. The powder blush set everything. I was able to apply all my other powder products on top, the bronzer, the highlighter, without any issues. There's no skipping, there's no patchiness. Just looks very cohesive, very blended. Okay, so that is it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you found it helpful. Again, just some key points is definitely picking up those particular, I'm sure we all have a stippling brush anyways, but if you don't, I think that's a really important part of it in order to be able to kind of just, you know, bounce that blush in. A finger, I don't know, I think you'd be there for a long time trying to get it in like that, but it would work too. A sponge as well would probably be okay, but I just find this to be the easiest way. And then a nice firmer blush brush to again push that powder blush gently into the cheek versus, you know, moving it around. Other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like I said, please leave me some comments down below. Let me know your thoughts. And I hope it demystified the whole idea of using a cream blush, especially making it last all day, because that's the key with makeup in my opinion. We're busy, we're out and about, and we just want our makeup to last as long as possible. So all the best to you guys. Take care of each other. I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.